Welcome on the show, Chef Dato Dr Fazley Yaakob. Thank you so much for joining us on the LITE breakfast. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You look a bit tired. I know you had a big cookout yesterday.
It was almost 24 hours cookout yesterday with the rest of the family members and my kitchen. Fun for Hari Raya.
All right. Now let's go to the beginning of it all, right? Before you became Chef Fazley, you were active in the entertainment industry as a singer, as an actor. But did you know how to cook then?
Well, to be honest, I was only helping my mom and my grandma to cook in the kitchen. I didn't really cook. But what changed my life was during my wife's pregnancy and during her confinement, I was cooking for her because she went through cesarean, all through four kids, and what happened was during the confinement she can't really go downstairs. She was in bed for almost 2 or 3 weeks, so I had to cook. I forced myself to cook for her, and then I realized, wow, I can cook. And then I joined Masterchef, and I don't know how I won. Chef again, my life changed because I went to Paris to study. And I came back and opened a restaurant, and then I'm cooking every day now. It's amazing.
Right. So, like, what motivated? Like, I know you said your wife's confinement made you go into the kitchen to cook, but where did you get the recipes from, or where did you learn how to cook those recipes?
This is something weird in my head. I mean, I kept become a broken record. I kept telling people that this happened to me. Ever since I was a young kid, I've got a photographic memory, but I don't actually go to the kitchen to cook. But because I was helping my grandma, my mom in the kitchen, I always know how to cut onions. I always know what comes after what, which one should be sauteed first, how to make a chicken curry, a simple fact, but it's always in my head. So I've got this kitchen, a photographic kitchen in my head. And all of a sudden, after Masterchef, this weird thing that I had in my head, I can actually put it forth. I mean, physically being in the kitchen and I know what to do based on what I had done and seen many years back. And these days, reading through recipe books, I can actually formulate a recipe without going to the kitchen and writing down the grammage and giving out the recipes. It's a foolproof recipe without even testing it. Not to brag, but it's a weird ability that I have the past many years.
Wow, it really is. I think it is really a useful talent for a professional chef.
Yeah, you can basically taste it in your head.
Yeah, imagine this, having a kitchen in my head. I've got my hot kitchen, I've got my pastry kitchen, and I've got my coffee machine in my head, in my different compartment, in my head. Yeah, for instance, I've got a client once who works with the soy sauce, all right? And this client tells me, Fazley, can you come up with the recipe? And I will ask them, do you want it to be a savory or sweet recipe? And sometimes they say, we want a dessert from a soy sauce. So I'm like stuck in a traffic jam, and they want the recipe in the next 15 minutes. So I can actually go in the kitchen and test everything out, right? And make sure that everything is okay, the recipe portion is correct, and then I send the recipe. So what I do is, I've got my phone, I will voice note the recipe to myself, and I will mix the grammage in my head. And once it's done, put it all in notes and send it to the client. And most of the time, well, all 100% of the time, it will be a food recipe. So I'm convinced that I've got this invisible kitchen in my head because of my training with my mom and my grandma. And of course, when I went overseas to study, it allows me to create a recipe from thin air. It's weird, but it works for me. Everything, especially if I'm driving in traffic.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Amazing. It's an amazing ability. And can you actually make dessert from soy sauce?
Oh, of course.
Really?
You can make tons of desserts. You just name it. You can use banana, you can use strawberries, you can use puff pastries. Because the very basic of an ingredient is to understand the flavor that comes onto your tongue once the flavor comes right on the tongue and 5 minutes after. So I think being able to digest what specific flavors are allows me to formulate recipes. And I remember during the semi-final of Masterchef Celebrity Malaysia, the challenge was to do a blind tasting of 21 herbs and spices. and I got 20 out of 21 right, blindfolded.
Wow.
So that was when I realized, wow, I can make this a profession, I guess. So
You
yeah,
have
it
a
helped.
very unique, yeah, you have a very unique talent and a very strong palate for taste, right?
Yeah. So that allows me to work with a lot of recipes, especially if I go to a restaurant. Some of the chefs are concerned if I'm at the restaurant because they're afraid that I might emulate the same recipe. I said, no, I just want to enjoy my food. But in hindsight, whenever I eat for a simple satay kajang, for instance, or a satay ayam, for instance, right? The peanut sauce, I can actually differentiate between three different peanut sauce, what is being put inside, what is left out, and what is an extra ingredient.
And also the secret ingredient.
Yeah. So some of the restaurants are afraid if I'm eating at the restaurant, but I told them I always come in peace. I just want to enjoy food.
Now, speaking of Celebrity Masterchef, what actually motivated you to want to take part in a reality show like that back in 2012?
No, this is something silly yet funny. I was always the motivational guru for Astro, where, and also other TV stations for that matter, where they used to have this show called Academy Fantasia. I'm sure everybody remember this. So I was the guru motivasi or cikgu motivasi for 9 long years. So I was given this particular contract. Like, Fazley, this is a new cooking show. It's called Masterchef. We need you to be on board. So I say, okay, yeah, let me just sign the papers. Because I saw in front of the contract, it says motivator, as per all my other contracts. You get me? So I've been signing contracts on TV stations as a motivators. My job is to make sure that I map out their character and personality and help the producers how to bring up tears, how to bring up laughter in the contestants. So I thought it was nearly there. So 1 month into the competition, I was called by the producer one day. Fazley, tomorrow is your photo shoot. Yeah, cool. I'll come over in my t-shirt and then I think it was Bermudas, you see. And then they said, Fazley, make sure you wear something nice. I said, I just put on a jacket, no worries. And I said, whilst I'm on my way, can I have the list of the contestants? I need their birthdays, I need their favorite food, their favorite color to do my usual assessment for the past 9 years. And the producer said, no, we can't do that. It's PNC. I said, no, I need to do my work. What are you guys on about?
Oh, no.
The past 9 years, you've been very open with me, with all the contestants. Suddenly, for MasterChef, you are not revealing the names of the contestants. I can't do my work. I'm sorry. I said, no, firstly, I think there's some miscom somewhere. Just come over. So there was a camera like this. I was just seated. And then, Fazley, are you ready for the interview? Yeah, but I need the contestant name. I said, Fazley, please read the contract again. I think you are misled. And I said, no, my wife's a lawyer. But I did not consult her before signing the contract, you see, this one time. So I said, Adik, I call her Adik saya. I said, can you please go through page 4 of contract 4.1.2 and can you please read it out loud for me? So on the phone, I call Azrin. I said, Adik, read it out loud. Okay, and she says, yada, yada, yada. Fazley Yaakob, the motivator. Okay, that's fine. And go on. Who is also the contestant. Okay, contestant? No, I'm just a motivator. So in the contract it says I am called in as a celebrity motivator who will be contesting.
So you were basically sort of tricked into signing the contract thinking that you were going to be a motivator for this contest.
Yes. So and I spoke to the producer. I said, no, bro, I can't do this, man. I can't cook. No, Fazley, you signed the contract and this is
Oh, no, you're stuck.
I said, oh no, what am I going to get myself into? But I think many challenges after I lost only twice and I emerged as the champion. I said, wow.
Yeah,
God has a funny way to tell me that I should be cooking from now on.
So, I mean, you end up winning the contest, yes. Do you remember your winning dish? What was your winning dish?
The winning dish was also served in Cyberview Resort Hotel, a 6-star hotel, I think. I prepared some sort of beef Wellington, wrapped beef in pastry. Let me see, a duck in a choux pastry. I made a duck from a pastry, and then I made a macaron. and some sauces as well. So being an amateur cook, the judges were asking, have you cooked before? Have you done this before? I said, no, this is my first time making all these dishes.
Wow.
I said, really? Even macarons? I said, yeah. Even your sugar pastry that shaped into a duck? I said, yes.
Wow.
So yeah, so
You know, I always wonder in these reality shows, especially MasterChef, do they give you what you're going to cook in advance so that you can prepare? Because all these are like
idea of
home
it.
cooks, right?
to be honest, that was what I thought.
Yeah.
I've been watching all these shows, and when I entered MasterChef, I was a little relaxed, thinking, okay, they'll be giving me all the ingredients and all the challenges a few weeks in advance, so I can actually Google it up, I can prepare this. But oh no, that's not the We weren't even allowed to have our phones right at the beginning. We have to put our phone somewhere. We can only contact the
So everything's on the spot.
If we were seen to be checking Google, it's no use because we will get the challenge, and right after the challenge, we'll be stuck in a dorm or in a manufacturing place and in a small room, which we can't do anything else, where we can't even go anywhere. So it's actually whatever you saw on camera, and we get scolded on camera. And I get stuff like, if I don't cook well, one of the judges will just say, no, this is excuse my language, this is cheaty, this doesn't work.
Mm.
Can
Wow.
you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So basically, whatever you see on camera, it is the reality, and it's worse than what you actually see. We have to face it differently.
Wow. In that case, like I think all these people who are on these shows, these reality cooking shows, then they're really good at cooking then.
Yes, I mean, after winning MasterChef, I get to travel around, and then I was put as one of the chefs for MasterChef Asia in Singapore and a couple of other competitions. It is based on whether you can or cannot cook. They can't camouflage or they can't window dress a particular contestant to make them look good on camera. If they can't cook, they can't cook. So that is why I think in many competitions, especially cooking competitions, the audition is it's very important.
Yeah.
You need to know how to hold a knife properly. You need to know how to prepare your steak properly. You need to know a bit of a basic of baking, because if you want to enter competition, you've got to be well prepared. And I think I was also a judge for Masterchef Malaysia right after, so I went through all the audition rounds. I went through to see whether a particular contestant can cook, and I gave my comments whether this particular person should be in the competition or not. So I think when we talk about reality-based program, it is as real as you can get. Whether you can or cannot cook, you will be thoroughly dealt with during the audition.
Okay. Now, since winning the title of Celebrity Master Chef, it seems like you've never looked back and you went full steam ahead into the culinary world. Was it a difficult transition for you from being a motivator, a singer, an actor, and then now a full-fledged chef?
No, that's a very unique question to me, because it was difficult to a certain extent where I had to put singing bench, because my passion is music. I mean, I've been playing the piano, I've learned the drums and guitar, and I write my own songs ever since I was 6 or 7 years old in Jakarta. And I came out with my album when I was only 21 years old after graduating from New Zealand. So I was singing all my life. And all of a sudden, when I'm a chef, I can actually sing whilst cooking. This is a taboo. If you are in the kitchen, you're singing. And
the singing chef.
The makciks, the pakcik will kept telling me, you're not supposed to be singing in the kitchen because it's bad luck.
Oh,
really?
What?
Never heard of that before.
I mean, it's crazy the amount of things that people tell me not to do in the kitchen. So what I've done differently after a couple of years, I wanted people to realize that I'm still singing. So I channeled my followers into thinking and realizing that I'm a singing chef or chef who can sing, not a singer who can cook.
Yeah.
Because one of the MasterChef contestants told me, never ever call yourself as a celebrity chef. I'll always refer yourself as a chef who's a celebrity. I said, what's the difference? Isn't it the same? And this head chef in the MasterChef competition told me once, if you are a celebrity chef, which means your passion is cooking, and you're on TV all the time, you might not be properly trained, you might not even have the right background and education when it comes to cooking, but you are popular online for some reason. But if you are a chef who's a celebrity, you're professionally trained, you might have papers with you to prove that you went to school, culinary school, and you've got a restaurant, or you cook every single day, and all of a sudden, you've got an opportunity to be on TV and you're popular on TV. Therefore, you're a chef who's a celebrity, not a celebrity who can cook.
Yeah.
So that stuck in my head. So I kept on learning. I mean, I went to Colombia the first year to study my pastries after this year. And then I did my master's in a UK course. And then I went back to Reims in France to do my grand diploma in University of Reims, which I did a thesis with a presentation with all the chef instructors. So basically with 3 different qualifications, it allowed me to not stop learning. After studying the French technique, I went to study Chinese cooking, I went to study Indian cooking, I went to study Thai cooking, and it has not stopped. And I even wrote a book, a recipe book, which to my surprise, it was my first time writing a recipe book. And my book was sent by the Cordon de Paris for a World Gourmand Food Awards in my own category.
Wow.
We emerged as the main winner. So on my recipe book, it says this recipe book won the World Best Recipe Book Award at the Gourmand, the World Gourmand Cookbook Awards. So, like you said rightfully, I did not look back. I keep on moving forward, upgrading my knowledge and creating new recipes. And today, this is my 9th year as a professional chef. I've worked with over 50 brands in the past 8 years.
But I think a lot of chefs, they don't feel the need to sort of go and get all these papers, you know, like you went to Le Cordon Bleu and all these, studying all these different cuisine, right? Why do you think it was necessary for you to go and learn all these different cuisines and techniques and get the papers?
Okay, if I can share this with you, you remember at one time, I think during the era of Academy Fantasia, everyone was talking about singers who become singers like instant noodles. They call it instant singers, right?
Yeah.
So it happened to me too. Because I was in Masterchef, a lot of professional chefs are telling me, look, you're just an instant chef. So don't call yourself a chef. You don't deserve the title as a chef. And what I've learned in the culinary world, that if you go to school, even the head of the head's instructor in the culinary school will be calling the first day student chef. Like, chef, welcome to the school. I was like, what? I'm still a student. No, you're a cook. The chef is a title that we respect, that we want you to earn and learn from it. So it's a different belief, I guess. It's a different set of practice. So what I've done differently, I went to school over and over again. I'm still going to school to study. I allowed myself to have enough knowledge to actually speak to the good chefs that, look, if you went through the kitchen for 20 years, yes, I only become a chef for the past 8 years, but I've got something extra. I learned my way through. I went to get a proper qualification. I passed my exams. I went through all the credentials, and I made sure that every single time I learned something new, I will make sure that I went through a simple exam so that it's been quantified by a professional chef. So I think these days it's important for you to know where you're headed. For me, because I've got my restaurants and I work with hotels, I need to make sure that my set of knowledge is at par with the industry standard. And some people get that through years of practice, which I have my hats off for them. But many of them had to go through the school. But even that's not enough. If you go 1 year for a course, that doesn't make you a good chef yet. But the years of experience after that will then make you a better chef. So I think that's the route that I wanted to go through. I don't want to be a big instant chef. Yes, I love instant noodle, but many people don't like instant.
Okay. Speaking of your restaurant, Asuka Sukre Bistro, there is a tagline that goes with it that I quite like. It says, from Rambau to Paris. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, I've got 2 brands now that I'm working with. I've got my Asuka Sukre Bistro. It's coming to 9 years now. I've got Minang Tapau. Minang Tapau, if you know the word Minang Kabau, and the word Tapau, it's a Hokkien word to take away. So Minang Tapau, it's a clever a way to put the brand together. Now, why Rembau to Paris? I was born in Seremban, Negeri Sembilan, in Rembau, and I went to Paris. I didn't want the theme to be Paris to Rembau because I'm all about elevating local dishes to be internationalized and to be recognized globally. So it's always about making sure that traditional cuisine can be accepted by the Matsalis. If the French can teach us the words like macaron and gâteau, they can teach us sauté, where everybody is using this particular word to mean something in the culinary world. Why can't I teach the Frenchman or the Matsali that rendang is not crispy? Why can I go around the Matsalis to say these very words? Daging salad lemak cili api. Why can't I do that? So this is what I'm all about. I want them to be taught about what we have in Malaysia.
Okay, and your restaurant, of course, serves typical local cuisine.
Yes, for Rembau
With a
Paris,
twist.
it's all about Malaysianized cuisine that has French technique. It's always about having a simple curry puff pusing sardine or a sardine curry puff, which will suddenly have a burnt sugar on top. That's a bit French, where suddenly you put a bit of French butter with a hint of some sweet basil and a bit of framboise, which is called a raspberry. So this is what I do. I don't like the word fusion food, but I always like to refer them as creative cuisine.
Interesting. Now you've also won a lot of accolades and the award for your cookbook, like you mentioned earlier. You're also being named, you were named top outstanding master chef in 2019 as well. I mean, what does it take, chef, to get to the top of the culinary world, especially here in Malaysia, like you have?
I think what's most important is to stay grounded. Most of us, I think, as human beings, whenever we have a new position, whenever we have a new knowledge, we feel that it's enough for us. We always think that the cup can be a little too overfilled. But where I come from, I'm a kampung boy, through and through kampung boy. I played in the sawah, I panjat pokok and all that. So what I've learned, the cup is always half full. No matter how much you try to fill the cup, it will always be half full. When it's half full, there's always room to improve. There's always room to become a better person. There's always room for you to learn from others. I think being grounded is what I've learned from my mom and my grandma. They've always told me no matter how high you fly, one day you will still need to be back on the ground. So what I've decided for me to fly further is to have people around me to keep supporting me and telling me not what I'm good at, but what I'm bad at, so that I can become a better person.
Okay. Now let's move on to more festive questions. Sure. Let's talk about Raya in CMCO time. What is the plan for Raya this year?
Raya, wow. This is my first time doing Hari Raya with a collection of visiting my auntie and uncle's house, where I told my auntie and uncles where every single day I will actually, every single week of the Raya, we will actually change houses every 2-3 hours. But this time I planned with them that, look, I'm going to have my Raya food on my table, but be prepared that I'll be calling every single house whilst having my food. So we are actually connected through a video call, just like how Hari Raya is, but this time it's a virtual-based Hari Raya. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. But I always wonder if chefs actually cook their own Raya food, or do you take this time off from cooking?
Well, like I said to you, we prepared our rendang yesterday, our lemang with my wife. But at home, surprisingly, I feel that my wife is much more of a better cook than I am.
Really?
Yes, she's a fantastic cook. I mean, I married her because she cooks really well. And not because I don't want to cook at home, not because I'm trying to cheat from cooking at home. But I just feel that home cooks are much better cooks, my mom and my wife. But I do cook occasionally. For Hari Raya, I've done my part yesterday, but I always tell my wife, please cook for me. Not because I can't cook for you, but I think you're much a better cook than me.
Just take time
Wow.
off, right, Raya? Just a few days to not cook because you've been cooking so many days.
And you
Yeah,
got points with the
year.
wife there as well.
Now, what were Raya celebrations like in your family pre COVID-19? Did you go back to Rembau?
Oh yes, because my late father is from Alustar, Kedah, and my mom is from Negeri Sembilan. I was born in Negeri Sembilan. So every Raya is always about traveling. The first day of Raya will be at Rembau, but come second day we're going up north to Alustar. So it's always commuting, Alustar, Rembau, Alustar, and going around the area to meet everybody. Because we came from a very large family. My father had 12 siblings, so I have 12 auntie and uncles to visit, and my mom's mother had 7 other siblings. So imagine that, 12 plus 7 family. So the first 3 days, it's not Raya for us. I think it's more like paying our respect to the elderly is more important.
Can you do that virtually now, this Raya?
Oh yes, I made sure all my cousins, my auntie and uncle buy their parents a smartphone. Everybody have to be video call friendly. Everybody have to have your Wi-Fi and a good connection. Because on the first day, Fazley Yaakob is going to be entering your house on my table, shaking everybody's hands virtually and say, Selamat Hari Raya on the phone.
Speaking about Raya, you said you prefer for your wife to cook, right? What would be your favorite dish to eat during Raya?
I'm a true and true Negeri Sembilan boy. I have to have my rendang. And my wife cooks fantastic rendang campur, where you have hati, liver, and daging, all the innards, and also a bit of meat.
Wow.
Wonderful! My God, I can't even start talking about it now without.
Never had that before.
Yes, you've got to try my wife's one, okay?
Also, it's called rendang campur there in Negeri Sembilan. Okay.
There's also the beef in it, and you have all the flavorful residue from the sauce that will be different texture every time you heat it up. So rendang is meant to be cooked and saved for a long time. So every single time you heat it up, it has a different texture, it has a different aroma, so it gets better by the time you heat it up. So that's one thing about rendang that I need to have every single morning of Hari Raya.
All right. Now,
No crispy rendang?
No, oh, you know what? Talking about crispy rendang, I was summoned to go to London to talk to some of the media friends to explain to them why rendang is not crispy after the rendang crispy fiasco.
Right.
I was in the Cordon Bleu, London. We had some BBC personnel over, and I actually had the lady Masterchef who cooked the so-called the not crispy rendang at my cooking demo, explaining to everybody to protect her. Look, she did right. The rendang was not supposed to be crispy.
Yeah.
So we had a cooking demo in London to teach the Londoners who came that this is how rendang should be done. So yes, it was a wonderful experience to explain to the Masalis that rendang can never be crispy.
Now, if you were to have an open house, right, during Raya, what would be your, signature dish, the Chef Fazley Yaakob dish during Raya?
What I usually do for Hari Raya, the rendang is a must, of course. We've got some lontong, we've got some pasembo. Pasembo is again from Alustar. And I will always make some French desserts. Although it's a bit out of the norms to have your macarons at the table during Raya, but my macarons, mind you, it's called chili padi macarons with sweet basil and rendang paste. So that's
What? Wow.
Yeah. So it's always about the rendang to Paris. So my particular macarons, the savory macarons, won an award at the Malaysian International Gastronomy Festival, where you see a yellow rendang with some green leaves inside and some beef and rendang paste. You'll be thinking that, how on earth do I eat a sweet but savory macarons? But the moment you put it in your mouth, it's an explosion of experience. So that's something that I always put on the table during Hari Raya.
Wow, gotta try that. Sweet and savory in one bite.
I think I did try that. This was at MIGF, wasn't it?
Yes, brother. Yes, that's the one you tried. Yes.
All right. I think I did try that. Yeah.
Did you
Now,
like
Chef,
it? It's
Did you like it?
Brilliant. Loved it.
Sounds interesting. Yeah, I would love to try that after Raya and all that. Maybe do you sell that at your bistro?
We don't sell it, but you can order it 24 hours in advance.
Ooh. Let's order, Bel. Let's order.
Now, Chef Fazli, what is going to be the new norm for your F&B business moving forward after this CMCO, after Raya?
All right. During this testing period, what we did in Suka Bistro and Minang Tapau, we combined both kitchen into a central kitchen where we only serve delivery like many restaurants. And also, what's going to happen, I think some of the restaurants are starting to open up to customers. And I saw a lot of mamas, a lot of good restaurants are having customers around with labeling that you're not supposed to be sitting in front of each other. But I see people still doing it. So I do not want to take the risk. So for Suka Bistro and Minang Tapau, I think we will stay as how we were during the MCO, where we don't have dine-in customers just yet, until I'm confident that something is able, so the government can convince the public to be even more careful with their surrounding. Because right now, I think
How long?
some of the big and large are a little too relaxed, you know. And I've got my staff,
Yeah.
I've got members who've got newborn babies. I don't want them to be bringing back all these issues back home, and it's my responsibility as the owner of the restaurant. So I think it's okay for me not to get the profit that I used to get, as long as I can pay my salary to my staff, and as long as my staff can stay healthy. So yeah, I'll continue doing.
Yeah, we've heard so many other restaurants, big restaurants, kind of suffering as well during this time. Some have had to close. How long do you think you can continue doing this, the tapao and delivery and pickup?
Well, the new normal. Funny that you mentioned that. When I thought that people will not be ordering food from us because we are fine Cheras, and they will not want to pay for delivery. But our nasi niru, which is a platter of rice that has 12 different ingredients, are sold out every single day.
Wow.
And that was not the case during pre-MCO. So we sold more items, more unique items during the MCO as compared to the normal days. So I think the new normal is that people are willing to spend more as long as they don't have to get out of the house. So I'm gonna try that for a couple of weeks or even months before I go back to people dining in the restaurant. Although it's a little difficult for us, yes, the profit margin that we make is not as big as before, but certain things are doing much better in terms of menu choice for the customers.
All right. Are you planning to add more recipes into your menu after this period?
Yes.
Have you been testing new recipes at home to be added to your menu?
I've got a lot of customers asking whether I can prepare a menu that can allow them to lose weight in the stomach area, if I can prepare a menu that can make their skin fairer, all these weird requests that we get on TV. Because I told them, I'm 42 years old, father of 4. They kept asking me, how come you don't have a stomach? I said, I do, I just don't have a six-pack. But I manage my food well. I don't take sugar. And even the pastries I serve at Suka Bistro are 30 to 40% less calories and less sugar than the many standard recipes. And my customers requesting for us to make health-friendly cuisine where they do not want to eat plain chicken breast with just salad, but they're wanting things like nasi goreng that is 30% less calories. They want to enjoy meat goreng mamak 2 plates without any guilt. So I'm working towards that already.
That's what I want.
Nice.
Yes, it's basically a healthier version of teh tarik, for instance. You know, I've created this particular recipe where you can have a condensed milk without sugar, without using stevia and whatnot. Yes.
How?
So you can have your teh tarik, the same sweetness, without calorie. So we've been serving that at Suka Bistro. So imagine this, one day, if you go to mama stalls, right, you no longer have to shout, Mama, teh tarik kurang manis satu. This time you'll be shouting, Mama, teh tarik Dato Fazley satu. That means zero sugar.
Very good, very good. Now, Dato Fazley, lastly, what's your message to Malaysians this Raya?
All right, to all Malaysians, it's important for you to make sure that you take care of your family first. And it's always important for you to understand how to move forward with the new normal. Don't complain too much, just accept it as it is, embrace it, and enjoy food in moderation. Please, please, please don't have 2 or 3 bungkus of nasi lemak every morning anymore. Don't have your roti canai banji every single day. Please don't have your teh tarik every single day. Control the portion of your food so that you can last a healthier life for your family.